Hey guys, welcome to She Reviews Shows. Today we'll be reviewing Our Kind of People Season 1, Episode 1. Our Kind of People is a new show on Fox that premiered September 21st at 9 p.m. I was really looking forward to this show after seeing that Lee Daniels is one of the executive producers, and we know the amazing job that he did with the hit shows Empire and Star. So I was really excited to see what Lee Daniels would bring with Our Kind of People. And let me tell you, Mr. Daniels did not come to disappoint. Our Kind of People centers around Angela Vaughn, played by Yaya Dacosta. She's a single mother whose mom recently died and left her a home in Oak Bluffs, which is a vineyard that rich African American people live. And Angela has dreams of starting her own hair care company, and she has to infiltrate this elite group of African Americans in order to make her dream a reality. As I stated earlier, Lee Daniels is one of the executive producers, and we know Mr. Daniels from Empire, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Star, The Butler, Precious, and lots of other renowned African American movies and shows. He's joined by Karin Gist, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who is an executive producer of Star and Grey's Anatomy. So I guess Karin and Lee worked on Star together, so they are truly a force to be reckoned with Our Kind of People. Let's get into our cast. The main character, Angela Vaughn, is played by the beautiful Yaya Dacosta. Now, we were introduced to Yaya Dacosta on Cycle 3 of America's Next Top Model. And I'll be honest, I was a bit disappointed that Yaya didn't win. But that did not stop Yaya from pursuing her dreams. Yaya starred in Chicago Med, and she recently quit the show after deciding not to renew her contract. And then she talked on the reel about how this new opportunity presented itself with Our Kind of People. And Yaya is really coming into her own, and I love the fact that on this show she is showing the beauty of beautiful natural hair. And Yaya is truly a force to be reckoned with. The attitude, the personality, the beautiful skin tone, the beautiful hair, everything about Yaya just screams, yes, black girl magic on 100. Then we have Morris Chestnut starring as Raymond DuPont. And the rich family of the show is basically the DuPont family and the Franklin family. Morris Chestnut's character is married to Leah Franklin, who's played by Nadine Ellis, and they have two children together and they're building their empire. Leah and Raymond's daughter is Lauren DuPont, played by the beautiful Ryan Nicole Brown. And I know Ryan from Lincoln's Height way back in the early 2000s, and I really loved her on that show. And she has starred on Empire in the last two seasons, and she did a great job with that. And she also proved that she can also sing. We know her big sister Ravon is known as a singer, and Ryan is coming into her own as an actress, and she plays Lauren on the show. Next, we have Nikki Vaughn, played by newcomer Alana Bright, and Nikki is the daughter of Angela Vaughn, played by Yaya Dacosta. Next, we have Tariq Chapman, played by Lance Gross. And Tariq is a businessman on the show, and it appears that he will be Angela's love interest. Now we have Teddy Franklin, who is played by Joe Morton, and we know Joe from Scandal. He's Olivia Pope's dad on the show, and not one of my favorite people at all. And it appears that he will reprise his evil father role in Our Kind of People, and he plays the father of Leah in the show. And he runs a business called Franklin Holdings. Debbie Morgan plays Patricia Williams, who is the aunt of Angela, as she was the big sister of Angela's mom. Kyle Barry plays Quincy DuPont, who is the son of Leah and Raymond. L. Scott Caldwell plays Olivia Sturgis DuPont, who's the mother of Raymond, and she is always antagonizing her daughter-in-law, Leah, and she appears to have a similar role to Joe in the show. And then Raven Godwin plays Josephine, who is the best friend of Angela. Now let's get into the show. This episode begins with Angela and her daughter Nikki and her aunt Patricia driving in a car talking about Angela's hair business. And as we can see, Angela's hair is just so voluminous and so gorgeous. Then the scene transitions into them at the beach, and Angela and Nikki go into the water and play, and then Angela seems to be a bit overwhelmed, and she starts crying. When she comes back to Patricia, who is sitting on the sand, she talks about how she misses her mom and how the hair business was her mom's dream. Then we have the DuPont family coming off of a private plane, and the mother-in-law, Mrs. DuPont, comes to meet them, and she is nagging Leah about a party that she has to host. Angela arrives at the house that her mom left her, and she reminisces about being a child, wondering how come she never met her dad, and her mom telling her that he's getting everything ready. And it shows how when she was a child, she saw her mom and dad rowing, but she never saw her dad because he was outside of the house, and she could hear her mom being upset and slamming the door in the dad's face. And then as a little girl, Angela ran out of the house trying to find her dad, and she saw him speeding off in a car. Angela gets into the party that Leah and her husband are hosting, and she makes it her mission to find Leah and her husband and pitch her business idea to them. She tells Leah that she has a donation, and she gives Leah a check. And Leah skins up her face at that check because I guess it wasn't much money. And Leah then tells her that she can find the donation box outside. And while Leah is talking with Angela, Nikki meets the DuPont's son, Quincy, and they're talking for a bit, and then they're rudely interrupted by Lauren, who is Quincy's sister, and their conversation is basically cut short because of Lauren and her friend, because Lauren was wanting to take a picture. Then Lance catches Angie when she was talking to her family, and she tripped and she broke the heel of her shoe. And you can see him staring at her all seductively and everything. And I'm calling him Lance, but on the show, his name is Tariq, not Lance. And then it transitions into Angela being on Instagram Live, fixing her hair, because she's obviously promoting her natural hair care business. And might I add, her hair just looks so beautiful. And then she reminisces about her mom again, and she flashes back to her mom dreaming about starting her own hair care business and her teaching Angela how to make her homemade conditioner. Then the scene transitions into Franklin Holdings, and the dad, Mr. Franklin, is presenting to the board of his company, and Leah walks in. And after the meeting is dismissed, Leah is rowing her dad for bribing people into signing contracts for his stadium. And then my guy snapped on Leah, and he told her that he is a black man in America having the American dream, and this is such a big deal. And he just shamed this girl, so she was so quiet. And then it transitions into Raymond talking to Quincy on the basketball court. They really didn't say much. And then we move on to Angela and Josephine chatting about how Angela can pitch her business to the Franklins. And as they were talking, she realized that there was someone at her door, and she got an invitation to a party that Tariq invited her to. And in the box were replacement shoes. And I thought that was super cute of him to buy her some shoes after seeing that her shoes were ruined. Angela arrives at the party and she sees Tariq. And obviously, the camera guy pans to her shoes, and we can see that this is not the shoes that Tariq bought her. And she tells him that she can buy her own shoes. And then we see Nikki, who's walking in, and she sees writing on a picture of the Dupont family. And then all of a sudden, she hears screaming outside of the boat. And she ran to the balcony of the boat, and she sees Lauren screaming and freaking out, saying that Taylor fell overboard while they were having a heated discussion. And in my head, I'm like, girl, Lauren, I really know you ain't saying that Taylor just fell over when you're probably the one who pushed her. Anyway, Tariq is flirting with Angela, and he tries to give her tips on how she can get in with the Dupont family. And they're looking at each other all seductively, and then they start to kiss. And in my head, I'm like, girl, you just met this man. Like, how are you kissing him already? Like, what? Anyway, their seductive kiss was rudely interrupted by Nikki calling Angela. And then Angela hurries to meet Nikki where she was on the boat. And Lauren denies being anywhere near Taylor when the incident happened. And the DuPonts say their daughter is not going with the police because the police was saying that he wanted Lauren and Nikki to come with him because they saw what happened. And when Lauren denied being near Taylor, I'm like, this little liar. And then Lauren has the heart to tell the people that Nikki was drinking and doesn't know what she's saying when Nikki is telling the people that Lauren was there as well. And Lauren is the one who was screaming, and that's why Nikki decided to come out to see what was going on. Anyway, Angela tells the police that he isn't taking her daughter anywhere either. So there's that. And then Angela rouses Nikki when they get home. And Angela makes Nikki come with her to a chapter meeting with her and Josephine. And this is a meeting that Leah is chairing as she's the new chapter president. And she calls for a moment of silence for Taylor's family. And after this moment of silence, she has to get shady and start talking about how many are called but few were chosen for this sisterhood. And we could all see that she was throwing shade at Angela. Anyway, Josephine nominates Angela to be a member of the sisterhood. And Angela gets up and she starts talking about how her mom started a business and how she wants to continue her mom's legacy. But she forgot to mention that her mom was a maid because obviously she's embarrassed of this part of her story. And she knew that those women would not want her to be a part of the sisterhood if they found out that her mom was a maid. Anyway, Angela offers to assist with the fashion show, but Leah chooses someone else and basically ignores Angela's being able to volunteer. And she tells Angela that she can assist with the food. Then it transitions into Leah's husband Raymond and her dad at a men's meeting. So the men's meeting seems to be similar to the sisterhood that they were meeting for. But this one is a little awkward because they seem to be doing some type of initiation process and they're reading off the oath. So Raymond and Teddy is her dad, they are sitting the oath interchangeably. one line, one line, one line, one line. And then Mr. Raymond decides to say what Teddy was gonna say. And Teddy looks at him like, this guy. Because that was the part where it says that I'm in charge and yeah, yeah, yeah. And my guy Teddy did not look happy at all. Anyway, then Angela tells Nikki to come with her to the mother-daughter fashion show. And Leah's mother-in-law is at the event, and she tells Leah to get rid of Angela because she can see that Angela is problems. And she tells Leah all about who Angela's mother really is, and she gives her this package with information about Angela's mom. Anyway, Leah then realizes that Angela has styled all the ladies' hair for the fashion show. And she's really confused and irritated, and she's about to snap on Angela, but Angela lets her know that her style is cancelled, so she decided to step in for free. Leah tells her not to mess it up, and then the fashion show begins. And let me tell you, these hairstyles were very out of this world, honey. Angela brought her A game, okay? Then Nikki runs into Lauren and she tells her that she saw a video that Taylor seemed to leave with Taylor and Lauren looking like they were in a relationship together. And Lauren is basically telling Taylor that she can't come out as a lesbian. And she tells Nikki to just get rid of the video, and Nikki is telling her she can be open and honest and just tell them what really happened. And then Lauren's mom Leah appears, and Lauren lies to her mom, telling her that Nikki's threatening her and blah blah blah. And then Angela comes and she steps in while Leah is attacking her daughter. Then while Angela steps in, Leah then tells Angela off, and she says it in front of everyone so that everyone at this fashion show can hear. And Leah tells Angela that she's been lying all along, and this whole time her mother was a maid. And Angela is fine with her saying this, and she's like, yeah, I know my mom's a maid. I'm not ashamed to say it. This is where I came from, etc., etc. And then Leah hits her with a bombshell that her mom actually went to jail for trying to distribute drugs. And this fact Angela did not know, and she begins to cry. And all I'm thinking is so long, bye-bye to that club membership. Then it transitions into Leah and her daddy Teddy in the boardroom. And she lets her dad know that she tore someone down. And he tells her that, yeah, you're my child, so he isn't really surprised. Then she hits Teddy with a bombshell that she's taken over the company, and he laughs at her. And she says it's either that or she's going to the feds, and they are going to love having all the information about his shady deals to investigate. And she tells him that she wants his respect. He said, you have my love, but respect is earned. And then she said that he told her that she needs to earn her seat at the table. And she said that she's coming for a seat at the table, and the seat that she's coming for is his seat. And she says it's not about the money for her, but it's about building up black folks. And he tells her it really is about the money for her too, because she is in fact his child. Then she tells him to enjoy his summer, and even though he's going to enjoy his summer, it won't be in that boardroom. Then Angela finds an old tape where her mom is being interrogated, and in the tape you can see her mom having a conversation with a man, and in the video she mentions that the man's name is Teddy, and she tells Teddy to tell them that she wasn't selling drugs in the house, but she chose not to. And then Angela has another flashback, and she remembers picking up the man who was apparently her daddy in the flashback, she picked up his watch as a child, and then she realized that Teddy Franklin is in fact her dad. Then she decides to go to Leah's house to pick up her wig that Leah borrowed for the fashion show. And they sit down together and they exchange words. And then Angela tells Leah that they're both two sides of the same coin. And Leah says, two very different sides. Then Angela is a bit offended and she's all like, oh, is it because you're rich? Then Angela takes the wig, and when she gets back home, she takes a strand of Leah's hair to get a DNA test. And the episode ends with Leah as a little girl this time. And she's in a car seeing a little girl in the street after her dad left Angela's house. And the dad comes in the car and she's asking her dad, well, who's that little girl? And her dad tells her to never talk about it again. And this ends the first episode of Our Kind of People. And I must say, it was so good. And I rate this episode a 10 out of 10. It's a must watch if you're looking for a new show. Trust me, you are going to love Our Kind of People. So see you again next week, Tuesday, right here on YouTube as we review the next episode of Our Kind of People. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I am really curious to hear your thoughts about this new series and this episode. See you next time.